Today, I'm going to cover all of Omega's newest watches released in 2025. Now, you may have noticed, but for the past few years, Omega has adopted a rolling release schedule, which means that instead of going to a show like Baselworld or Watches and Wonders, now what they do is they announce their watches around the same time they're about to launch. One of the benefits is that the watches are usually more readily available, so instead of announcing a watch in March and then the watch actually comes out in December, the wait time is much shorter, meaning that people remember the watch, they don't have to do as much marketing, and everyone's happier. Today I'm going to cover around 50 new Omega watches. I know, right? Some of these you might not even have noticed were new launches, or you might have just forgotten, and I'll give you some quick opinions and details on all of these watches. If you like breakdowns like this, make sure to subscribe to my channel Minutemon, and if you're looking for an Omega watch, especially for the holidays coming up, you can reach out to my store Carrot & Co. We've been an authorized retailer of Omega watches for decades now, located in Flushing, New York, and today I'm excited to share with you these brand new models, including the newly announced Seamaster Planet Ocean, which we'll touch upon a little bit later. But let's first start with the new Railmaster. So early 2025, Omega announced 4 new Railmaster models, all in 38mm and in stainless steel. The 2 dial variants are either gray with this kind of fume effect, no day window, or this brown tropical dial with a sub-seconds. Now, something you may have noticed is that the bracelet appears to be more rounded. There's also a leather strap option as well, and all of these are priced between the $6,000 to $7,000 range. On the gray dial version, I will say I like how simple and clean the dial looks. I like that it's only the Railmaster text underneath. The dial color reminds me of a vintage Railmaster they did decades ago, and I do like the size, especially for someone like me who prefers watches in the 38mm case size. But between these new models, I do like the brown tropical dial more, just because I think the sub-seconds kind of makes the watch get a new look and adds a little bit more depth to it. I think the brown tropical dial looks a little bit better than the gray dial in my opinion. For a long time, the Railmaster collection was kind of the underrated and underloved collection from Omega. If you wanted something that was a little bit more utilitarian, more tool-like with more brush finishing, that was what the previous generation was like. But now this one seems to have adopted the Aquaterra treatment where everything has a little bit more high polish and rounded links. It's definitely a new look for the Railmaster, but I would love to hear what you guys think about it. Moving on, in the Seamaster Diver 300 series, there was 2 new models also announced. These are black dials with no date window and pops of orange accents. One with a bright orange rubber strap, or the Milanese mesh bracelet. So this is basically the same watch from the No Time to Die, 60th anniversary of James Bond, or even the new no-date versions from last year. These are still 42mm with a 13.8mm thickness and a lug-to-lug of 49.7mm. They're still in stainless steel, around $7,000 at the time of this video. And the only thing I can really say here is that this is just adding a little bit more color to this collection. And the orange actually reminds me a lot of the Planet Ocean because that's usually linked to the Planet Ocean line. Now, next up, another kind of like update to the Aquaterra is the Aquaterra Turquoise, but now with black ceramic. If you remember, at the end of 2024, Omega announced these new turquoise dials in the Aquaterra family, 38 or 41mm. They're actually pretty popular. Black accents, fume effect on the dial, black date window. So really the major difference here is putting a black ceramic bezel and removing that high polished bezel. These are all around $7,800 and it only comes on a black rubber strap with the matching turquoise stitching. So no bracelet option, but of course you could always order the bracelet from the other collection. I've always liked the Aquaterra turquoise dials. I like that it has the black accent, so it creates a lot more of this stark contrast. And when I look at this, I think about like the Mercedes AMG collabs. So this kind of looks like that to me. Next up, again in the Aquaterra family, this one is the new 30mm master chronometer. This is for the ladies. There's 17 new models. I'm not going to cover every single one. And these start at $7,000 and then they go all the way up until $42,000 if you get the all rose gold with mother pearl and also diamonds. The previous generation was the 34mm master chronometer. So now there's an automatic 30mm, which is just another great size. This is really good, especially if you wanted to do like a couples matching watch, like the ladies could do 30 or 34mm and then the gents can do like 38 or 41. One of the pieces that I thought was really cool is the gray dial with the diamond indices and diamond bezel. From afar, this looks like an all white gold watch because of all of the finishing on the dial, as well as the diamonds just kind of bouncing around. I think this is good because over the past few years, I've seen a lot of watch brands starting to do mini watches, especially like with Cartier. So I feel like this is a good option because this is like the go anywhere, do anything version of that in a smaller case size. It's also much thinner than the 34mm because this is 10.5mm thick. Now, one of my new favorite collections announced is a new Speedmaster Gray Side and Dark Side of the Moon. This is actually an update to this collection. This collection is always in a full ceramic case, so either all black ceramic or all gray ceramic. The Dark Side of the Moon collection, these are automatic master chronometer chronographs. It has dual counters and a date window at 6 o'clock. So because it's automatic, it's going to be thicker. This is 44.25mm with a 15.09mm thickness and a lug-to-lug of 50mm. But I will say I have seen people with even my wrist size wear these watches and kind of get away with it just because the black ceramic case kind of tends to be a little bit more of a slimming color. Now there's three main versions of the Dark Side of the Moon. There's the black dial with the red pop seconds hand. That one's actually being nicknamed the Darth Vader, which is pretty cool. You can totally see the connection. A specific moment I think about is in the end of Rogue One when you see Darth Vader. That's literally what I think about when I see this watch. So I think that's a really cool one. Then they have the black, which is basically the same thing, but without the red accent. So just all black. Legibility is probably going to be a little difficult, but come on, you're buying a watch because it's cool, not because you need to read the time, right? And then they have the classic Dark Side of the Moon. This one is all black ceramic case, black dial, and then it has white superluminova, so you can actually read this one. And now my favorite out of all of these is a new Gray Side of the Moon. Even in the previous generation, the Gray Side of the Moon was my favorite because it had that cool platinum dial, and I just tend to like gray and tone-on-tone things. I have no idea why. Now this dial and this movement is very similar to the Omega Apollo 11, except with this all gray monotone finish. Instead of being automatic, this is manual winding, so it has 3 sub dials, and it has like this moon crater dial effect on the dial as well as on the case back on the movement. This is a 44mm with a 12.97mm of thickness, still same lug-to-lug of 50mm. Out of all the ceramic pieces here, the Gray Side is still my favorite. I feel like you get the most detail on this watch. It's thinner, so it actually wears a little bit better. And then even on the rubber strap variant, you also get this moon crater version on it. Speaking of, the next one is the Omega Milano Cortina 2026. This is the Olympic version. So there's 2 new versions. One of them was announced kind of last year, but I'll consider it for this year. That is the new Seamaster 37mm in Moonshine Yellow Gold. It's a no-date dress watch with vintage aesthetics, great size, kind of these cool scarab looking lugs. If you look at the case back, it also has the Milano Cortina Olympic emblem on it. And now the other one, which I thought was really cool, is a Speedmaster 38mm. Now, like I just mentioned, this Speedmaster 38 has not yet been updated with the master chronometer. So this is still 38mm with a 14.7mm thickness and a short lug-to-lug of 45mm. The first thing I thought when I saw this is cool because this kind of has Omega Snoopy colors. You have a blue bezel, blue indices, and pops of blue seconds all over. But the dial has a little bit of a texturing on it. It has this varnished white dial with a frosted blue transfer, so kind of like this snowscape dial. This one is still the Omega coaxial caliber 3330 with the 52-hour power reserve. So no surprise that Omega continues with some of the new Olympic models. The only thing I can say, the Speedmaster 38mm line, I'm excited for that to get master chronometer, and also hopefully a thinner case in the future years. Next is a new Constellation line. This is in 28mm in quartz. There's 8 new models. I'm not going to go through every dial color, but basically these are all in quartz. Not really much else to say about that. And finally, I think the most exciting announcement of the entire year is a brand new Seamaster Planet Ocean 42mm. Now, this is considered the 4th generation of the Planet Ocean. You'll notice there are some major differences here. I mean, look at 10 o'clock. There is no more helium escape valve. That helium escape valve has been on this collection for decades, so this is pretty shocking to see that they took it off completely. But personally, I like it without the helium escape valve. They also changed the size, so this is 42mm, but the thickness is 13.79mm. Just to compare, the previous Planet Ocean line used to be 16.1mm thick, so this is over 2mm thinner. This is a stainless steel case, but does mix other materials like a grade 5 titanium case back, as well as a shiny polished ceramic bezel. All of these have a black matte dial, but with different ceramic bezel colors. There's black, blue, and the classic orange for the Planet Ocean. And just keep in mind that the orange version is the only one that also has matching orange applied indices. You'll also notice that the Arabic numerals have a little bit of an update to the typography, especially if you look at 6 and 9, it's slightly different from the previous generation. The bracelet on this new model looks completely new. It's a little bit more of a flat link, kind of looks integrated into the case. It also tapers and has a micro adjust. And this collection also has no date window, so now you get all the 12369 numerals, and has a master chronometer caliber 8912, which is the same as the ultra deep models. This is also rated to 600 meters of water resistance. In some ways, when I look at this does remind me of the Seamaster 300, the vintage one from 1965. However, you do notice that this has like the broad arrow handset and a lot more of this like modern high polished ceramic look to it. This is one collection I would urge you to check out for yourself in person, and also compare it to the Diver 300 series, just because the sizing is going to be about the same, especially on paper. And out of the new Planet Oceans, I actually like the blue bezel the most. For me, I've always liked the 39.5 millimeter Planet Ocean, like the summer blue that came out a few years ago. So if I had to choose, I would put this in a 39.5 millimeter case, and I would probably do the blue bezel or the all black on black version. All of these come on a stainless steel bracelet, or you can get a rubber strap. So there's slightly different variations, but with all around the same dial. My final thoughts about this, I am happy they took off the helium escape valve, because for a while I started to feel like the Planet Ocean and Seamaster Diver 300 started to kind of look the same but just have different thicknesses. Even if one had Arabic numerals and one didn't, like the kind of case shape kind of felt a little similar. So I like that this feels completely different, and they were able to make this thinner and also really wearable on the wrist. And now, out of everything I mentioned today, my all-time favorite that came out this year is actually the Gray Side of the Moon. I love that all gray ceramic case. I love the dial, I love the movement on that one, and I can see that being a future classic. Let me know in the comments below which was your favorite new Omega watch release of 2025, or if I missed anything. Subscribe to my channel, because the next video I'm working on is going to be my favorite watches of 2025. I'm going to cover watches that we carry in our store, as well as some of my favorites that we don't carry that I just personally like. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.